I'm gonna mainly talk about charisma, but I want to start off quickly with looks maxing. Again, I was looking just now at teeth whitening options, and I was considering it a lot actually. Maybe like 2 years ago, I was considering it because my friend, my roommate, he ended up doing these teeth whitening strips, and he said it was painful, but after a few months, you'd see results. Well, you'd do it daily, I think, for 2 weeks, and then you'd apply it every so often, every 3 months, for example, and it would maintain that whiteness. I was considering doing it because it doesn't seem that expensive, and I've always been insecure about the whiteness of my teeth. My teeth are always a little orange. You can't really see it here in the lighting, but if it was darker, I guess if it was in person, you'd see that my teeth are a bit yellow, and it's noticeable yellow, but again, it's not really a big deal. It's something that's just been at the back of my mind all this time, and again, it's not a massive insecurity. It's just, oh, my teeth are just a bit yellow, and I brush my teeth every day. I floss, so it's not a reflection of how hygienic I am. I feel it's just how my teeth are. One thing I won't do though is braces. Everyone around my age was doing braces or had braces. I remember in high school, even before high school, it was a big thing. But I think I briefly considered it. What turned me off of the idea was braces actually, they result in your jawbone being dissolved. So the way they work is braces align your teeth in the way they should be, what the perfect standard would be, and then it cuts off. So since it pushes your teeth, it cuts off circulation in the gums, and so in order to fix that, your body has to send osteocytes. I think it's osteocytes that dissolve part of your jaw so that your teeth can move properly, so there's no discomfort, there's no lack of circuit blood flow to your teeth. Now that's definitely a simplified version, and I'm not a dentist, right? So I don't know all the specifics, but I remember seeing a video talking about this, a reputable video. And so I I don't know if I'd really want to have my jaw, and that's actually a big reason why you have to wear retainers, because if you don't wear a retainer, your teeth will just go back, because the dissolved jawbone doesn't get filled in again. It's just always having a hole there, so the teeth would just move back to where it originally was. So that's annoying. You have to wear a retainer. Not only do you have to wear braces for 1 year, 1 or 2 years continuously. After that, you have to also wear a retainer every single night. And that's just a bit tedious. I don't know if it's really worth it for me. But going back to the point, whitening would be something I would look into, because you do the math on it, and it ends up being, you take it 2 weeks continuously every day. So that's 14 treatments. And then for the rest of the year, you only have to do it every 3 months or 4 months. So each teeth whitening strip box has around, we'll say 20 treatments. It ranges, of course, you can buy the more expensive one. So we'll say 20 treatments. So 14, you have your teeth whitened and now you're just maintaining. So now you have three, uh, sorry, six. Yeah, so you can just do 2 more years. You have, yeah, around 2 years if you do it every 4 months. I think that would be pretty nice, especially, and the box would be something like $60. All right, $60 is a bit expensive, but it lasts you 2 years. That's not bad. And then the next year, all you'd have to do is just buy a box, and that lasts you like 5 years or something. So $60 for 5 years. That's even better. I asked my friend to see how it works for him, what he thinks. But I might not do it. I'm not too conscious about my teeth. I don't really care either way. It's more the actual health of my teeth, like making sure that I brush every day and floss. Just not getting more cavities. I already have few. I think three, and I don't want to get more. Right, so I wanted to talk about charisma. Charisma. Recently, I've been watching YouTube videos on this channel of this guy who claims that he's started to, not really, he doesn't claim he's mastered charisma, but he's learned a lot from his experience, and he can teach people of what he knows already of charisma. He's not claiming to be a professional by any means, just that he wants to share what he's learned. I think this is really interesting because I was interested in charisma. I was reading this book called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dave Carnegie. And that's actually really insightful. Part of what he says is you have to let people talk. Just let people talk. That's such a big thing because they want to talk about themselves. They find themselves the most interesting creature on earth. So if you let them talk about themselves, they'll not only be grateful, but they'll find that you're a charismatic person. Ironically, you didn't even have to talk much. You just had to facilitate the conversation where they would talk. And okay, but so Dave Carnegie and this YouTuber, they're not, I think you have to be very careful when listening to YouTubers or listening to anybody really. Especially online. Online, it feels like people have an authority. They are experts in that field. But honestly, you don't know their credentials half of the time. It might just be some random. It is at the end of the day, it's just some guy spewing thoughts, like me, literally like me, spewing what he thinks, what he's learned, but it's not necessarily the truth. So being really conscious of that, you can still learn from those ideas, but understand this might not necessarily be true. I I would say do your own research, especially as I said though, I'm spewing my thoughts. I'm saying what I believe and through my perspective, through my experiences, what I've learned. So again, you don't have to believe everything that I say, but be conscious, more just be conscious that I'm a human explaining things how I see it. Okay, so I wanted to talk about more in depth the charisma part of it. So the how to be charismatic. In the videos that I've seen so far, he says you want to let people talk, of course. So that's also supported by the book that I've been reading and from personal experience. And intuitively, it makes sense. I mean, you feel good when somebody asks you something about yourself and you're able to talk about that. You're an expert in yourself. So you're able, not only are you able to talk about that so well, you're so interested in it. I think that's why it works so well. The second point that I wrote down, yeah, okay, so he says genuinely want to talk with them. So a big part of charisma is being authentic and people can sense if you're inauthentic, if you're just smiling all the time and you're like laughing, which is honestly on me. I've done that a lot, but I was honestly happy. Sometimes I have this thing where I will laugh awkwardly. I'll smile a lot genuinely because I'm genuinely happy. But if I don't know what to say, sometimes I'll just laugh, even if it's not a joke, not funny, not something that I find funny. And I think I have to work on that just to seem, because it's not really being authentic, and it comes across as being inauthentic as well, because it's just awkward. It's an awkward laugh, right? It's not a genuine laugh. But genuinely wanting to talk with people, people will sense that. If you really want to hang out with them, if you really want to talk with them, they'll appreciate that and they'll like you for it. They'll feel that you're charismatic. Also, this one's not this one's not completely necessary, but if you don't know someone well, nobody this is only my idea. I haven't heard anybody talk about this too much. But being very personal, opening up is really powerful to getting someone on your side, becoming friends, becoming close with someone. What I mean by that is like saying really personal things that you'd say only to your friends or maybe not even to your friends. Somebody did this to me in university and I became really close with that person. I felt like I was immediately friends with that person without even knowing them well. But knowing that secret information that he didn't even share with his really close friend, that he didn't even share with his roommate, it felt like we had a connection, a friend connection instantly. And I only realized months later that it was because he shared something so personal. It was because he shared something so close to him that he wouldn't share with just anybody. It was that allowed that that made me feel really close to him. So if you want to do this, you'd basically it'd be something along the lines of like I would say something like I haven't told this to anyone, but and then you continue on with what you're going to say. And that's what he said to me. He emphasized it too. And it's not honest, you have to be honest too. Like if you've told this to every single person, then maybe don't say I've never told this to anybody. But if it's something that you genuinely find you find very private, you start off by saying something like that, emphasizing that only a select few people know this. You are privileged to know this. And from that, there it just it just works that the other person feels more attracted to you in just attracted to you. Not I'm not saying I'm not saying in terms of romantic relationships, although maybe it could work. I feel like it'd be a bit manipulative if you were to use it in a romantic setting. Then again, it's manipulative as a friendship, but it's it's a fast way to know somebody. It's a fast way to get to know someone. Be happy. Yeah, genuinely want to talk with them. Let people talk. Oh, and last thing, this one's really important. Know when to end the conversation. So, there are so many people that they're good at speaking, but they don't know when to shut up. They they can't read the person they're talking to, and so they'll go, I don't know, 10 minutes talking about themselves or even just talking in general and trying to have a conversation with the person, but they won't realize the person just doesn't want to talk. And if that's the case, you can't force a conversation. A conversation is a two-person task. So there's no way to carry a conversation. The other person has to be willing. And you'll find that people that want to have a conversation with you, it feels nice because when you run out of things to say, or even if you don't run out of things to say, you say something really brief, even a yes or no question. They'll say yes, and then, or they'll answer the question, yes or no, and then they'll expand on it. And then they'll continue talking, and then they'll ask you. They'll let the conversation flow naturally. But again, if somebody's not in the mood to talk, don't don't force them to. It won't be a good conversation for either of you. It won't be entertaining. It won't merit anything. I would also say, kind of adding to that tip and the original one, let people talk. You can talk about yourself, of course. I mean, how else are you supposed to get the conversation to continue? But don't I would say don't focus on yourself too much. Try to focus more on them. And if you have something to say, then say it, but don't yeah, just don't focus on yourself. I guess this is actually the last thing. There's also the halo effect. So people that are generally considered more beautiful, more attractive, symmetrical faces and all that, they're going to have an easier time just in general. I don't even mean with talking. They'll be seen as nicer, stronger, healthier, any good quality. They'll just be seen as that. And that's what the halo effect is, where somebody who's beautiful, you just judge them initially off of their looks. So, all that to say, there are going to be things that are out of your control. You should accept that, but there's a lot that you can take into control. The the speech that the things that you say, the way you engage someone, that's all in your control. Now, whether that person wants to talk with you is out of your control. Whether that person initially thinks you're a nice person by the by just looking at you is something out of your control. Generally out of your control. But that shouldn't discourage you